Hey, this is Matisyahu Mac. Today we're going to make chicken flautas, which is a wonderful, easy to eat Mexican finger food. It can be served as an appetizer at parties, etc. You can also serve it as an entree with the rest of your meal. It's easy to make, it's simple, and let's get started. Okay guys, we're going to bring a pot of water to boil. And we're going to add in about 1.5 tablespoons of salt. And we're going to go ahead and just drop our chicken leg quarters directly into the boiling water. We want to make sure that those get nice and submerged. And we're going to let those boil. And we're going to let those boil for about 15 or 20 minutes until they're completely cooked. And we can put a lid on, turn the heat down slightly so that when it comes back up to a boil it doesn't pour out of the sides. And we're going to let that sit and boil for about 15 or 20 minutes. Okay. It's been about 20 minutes and we're going to take a look at our chicken. And this looks pretty well done. 15 minutes in boiling water easily gets through and thoroughly cooks the chicken. So we're going to take out the chicken and we're going to place it into a bowl. And we're going to let these things cool. Because our next step we're going to have to handle them. And obviously they're going to be very hot. So we put them in a bowl and we're going to set them to the side and let them cool. We'll see you when they're cool. Okay, so the chicken is cooled off enough to work with. And the first thing that we're going to want to do is take off the skin and discard it. We're not going to use the skin in this recipe. If you have a cat or another animal that you can use, that you can feed it to, by all means. So what we want to do is remove the chicken, and you can use a fork to help pull the chicken meat off of the bone. And basically what we want to do is completely remove every single bit of meat from our chicken legs that we just cooked and let cool. So go ahead and do that, and once you're done with that, we can move on to the next step. Please pardon my birds. They like to chime in with me on these recipes. So go ahead and remove all the meat, and we'll see you in a minute. Okay, by now you should have all your chicken off of the bone and all the meat on a plate like this. And what you're going to want to do now is basically take a fork and we want to shred the chicken. Basically want to take all this meat and shred it up really nicely, just like that. And then we're going to place our shredded chicken into the bowl. And you'll want to do that to all the meat that you just deboned from the chicken. So shred it up just like this and place it in your bowl. Okay, so by now your chicken should be completely shredded just like this. There's still some slightly larger pieces in here, but this is just fine for what we're making today. So make sure your chicken is completely shredded like this, and now we're going to go on to the next part. Okay, so we're ready to go now. I have my pan preheated with about 1.5 tablespoons of oil, and I'm going to go ahead and put my cumin directly into the oil and let those flavors come to life in the oil. And now I'm going to place in and salsa. Again, this is the homemade salsa that we made on a previous video, and I'm going to go ahead and link you to that in the description. And basically want to let this come up to heat. You see, all our flavor is in the salsa. The salsa contains tomatoes, onions, peppers, garlic, salt. Did I say onions? Has onions. All our flavor is in this salsa. So now that that's come up to heat, I'm going to go ahead and take the shredded chicken that we just prepared, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it in there. And you want to basically let the chicken soak up the flavor from the salsa and the cumin. And we're going to bring our flame down, or our heat down, just a bit to about medium. And you want to make sure that your chicken is completely enveloped by the wonderful flavors of the salsa that we have here. We're going to go ahead and let this rest for about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit more, and we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes and just simmer. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay guys, this has been simmering for about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and uncover this and see what we have. This looks right. This is your chicken. That's going to be the base for the flautas that we're going to make. It's also the base for the chicken enchiladas that we're going to make on a future video. So this can be used for many different, actually it can be used for, the list goes on and on. This is your chicken base for so many Mexican dishes. Okay, so we're going to take this off the heat, and we're going to put it back in the bowl that we had the chicken in earlier. And we're going to let this cool now. We're going to handle this again, so we have to let it cool. So put it aside, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're ready to start making the flautas now, rolling them up. I always put my tortillas in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to make them a little bit more easy to handle so that they don't tear as we roll them up. And essentially, we let our chicken cool enough to where we could handle it and it won't burn us. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of chicken and put it inside a tortilla, inside one of our corn tortillas here. And we're going to roll it up just like that. And we're going to take a toothpick and we're going to just make sure that it stays closed, just like that. Put a little bit of chicken in each one and roll it up. And close it with 2 toothpicks, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to fry the flautas. You should have a pan with some hot oil ready to go. Make sure that your oil is nice and hot before you start dropping in your flautas. And we'll take each one. We'll rest it directly into the pan of oil. We're going to let these things fry nice and crispy. And once they've cooked, let the oil drain out from both sides and put them off to the side on a paper towel. Okay, we have fried our flautas, and now we're going to go ahead and just remove the toothpicks. The toothpicks just held them together for the frying process, but now without the toothpicks they will hold their shape. They're nice and crispy. And now we're going to be ready to plate. And there we go. There are 3 beautiful chicken flautas served with guacamole. And if you have not watched my video on making the best guacamole, I will put the link in the description. It's also served with some fresh salsa. And again, if you haven't seen my recipe for fresh salsa, I'm also putting a link to that in the description. Okay guys, well, I'm excited. I haven't had these in a little while. They're wonderful. You can eat them with your guacamole. It's a wonderful treat. These are great for parties, awesome finger foods, and just absolutely delicious. Thank you for watching.